founder and executive director of Saved by Nature. Welcome to day 3 of the Summer Science Project. If you're just joining us today and you don't know, just like you, I was once sitting there, a participant of the Boys and Girls Club. I was one of like the first 5-10 members of the Southside Boys and Girls Club, which is now the 11 Boys and Girls Club. But when I joined, we were out of the cafeteria out of Davis Junior High. Had lots of fun when I went to the Boys and Girls Club. I played softball, I played basketball, I played football. But it wasn't until I stopped going to the Boys and Girls Club is when I made some bad decisions and got into some trouble. And so the reason why I started Saved by Nature is because nature saved my life. And when I was 10 years old, we and the Boys and Girls Club at one point got to go to Yosemite every summer. Some kids would be able to go from different clubs, but they stopped doing that. And so I created the Summer Science Project last year so that we can introduce you to nature. And so this whole week, we are doing nature science. And so today is Santa Clara Valley Open Space Authority. This is Terry Rosaway. She's the program manager for them. And then tomorrow will be Valley Water. And then Friday will be WRC.
It turns out we're in a park that I actually grew up in. I used to come over here all the time and we would play down in the creek. And me and my brothers used to walk all the way from this park in the creek all the way to Allen Rock Park. And we would be gone for like 8 hours, and we spend the whole days in the summers like doing that. Almost like every week we would go at least once. I used to tell myself when I was a kid that I wanted to be an astronaut, and now I work for open space. So when you think of your dreams, make sure you're very specific, okay? Because the Open Space Authority actually takes care of property and land so that people and wildlife and nature can be really healthy put together. So if you find the neighborhood park that's really messed up and it's like an old lot or something, you can actually talk to Open Space and we will help you get it so that it can be turned into a park that anybody can go to. And we return it to someplace natural looking like this. Hi, how's it going? Hello, got somebody coming by. Hi, puppy. Hello. So one of the things that I like about this park is that along the creek here, there's all these different kinds of trees. So right behind me right here is one called a coast live oak. And it has these really weird things that sometimes you'll find on oak trees, and they're called dolls. Is that close enough? Like, yeah. Like, check this out. This one is humongous. Ooh. But so like this little teeny bee, and she almost looks like a fly. Like she couldn't bite you even if she wanted to. She's like so tiny. But what she does is she goes on the oak tree here and she gets all upset because she can't find a husband. No guys, right? She goes, oh no, what am I gonna do? Well, it turns out she can have babies by herself. So she goes up on the tree here and she scratches it and she puts her ovipositor, which is like basically her rear end, into the tree and she lays eggs. And those eggs actually have a hormone in them that's like a perfume that tells the tree, grow me a house. So it's a fake plant hormone, totally freaks out the tree. So the tree thinks it's supposed to grow. So it grows this weird looking thing that looks almost like an apple. And so if you look really close, you could probably see there's little holes in there. So my boss actually gave this to me when I was brand new at Open Space. And it turns out that as it was on my desk, it kind of went eat, 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 like that. And then all of a sudden a bug flew out. So there really are oak galls that live in these things. And so what they do is inside here is all the little larvae that are her babies. And so as they're crawling around, they also have that hormone that tells the tree to keep growing. And what it's doing is it's making a house with all the food and all the water you would need until you're a grown up. Can you imagine that? If you could walk up to a tree and be like, put your hand on the tree and be like, grow me a house. Oh, and by the way, put a bunch of pizza and stuff in the fridge. That's what they're telling the tree to do. And then when they get ready to emerge, they actually grow wings and they chew these little holes and they actually come out. But because it was only a female and because she didn't have a male to breed with, all the babies are girls. So it's been a really long time since anybody actually saw a boy oak gall wasp. So if you do, you could totally become famous. Wouldn't that be cool? The nice thing about it is this kind like actually will have leaves all summer. So we used to hang out here because it was cool, as in temperature cool. So when they have their leaves all year round, they're called evergreen. Like what? Because they're evergreen. Like that's easy. But if they actually fall off, it's called deciduous. Yeah, so you could come here and this would shade the creek like all year, and so you could play here. It'd be nice and cool. And my parents actually didn't mind, you know, so they would let us go play like outside.
I just want to show you the leaf. And so it's really pokey. Has these little pokers, right? So this is the Coast live oak. Okay. And Terry has a acorn. Show them how the acorn grows, because they might not know how the acorn grows. Oh, like that. Yeah, nice. There it is.
Ta-da!
So there's no acorns now, but that's an acorn that we've saved. And so that's the acorns that grow on the tree, okay? And if you have any questions, let us know. Put it in chat. There are no wrong questions, and we love questions. And it has a hat. See, it's wearing a hat. Pretty cool. That's nice. You can make food out of acorns and stuff.
When they first grow on there, they're green. Almost, well, not as green as my shirt, but they're pretty green. And I used to think, oh my gosh, they're never going to turn brown. But they do after they fall off the tree. I want to show you a pelt of something. So, like, I live, like, not too far from this creek. And I was out in the backyard, and I was watering my plants. And then I went inside, and I heard a noise. And I looked over, and my cats were freaking out. And they were like, all puffed up and like staring out the window. And I have one of those things on my sliding glass door that's like a mirror thing. So I couldn't see like what was out there. It was just reflecting back, like the cat all freaked out. And so I snuck up there as best I could. And I turned the light on, and it was a raccoon. Not that raccoon's fur. But you can see it's pretty trippy. And this is actually a pretty small one, because the one I saw was like the size of a medium dog. I like almost had a heart attack. So what they do is these raccoons, they'll come if there's cat food. And I have a ton of cats. And I have a feral cat in the backyard that I take care of. And so he's in there like trying to get the cat food. And I also have a lot of fruit trees. So they like that too. But I noticed that the raccoons will come if you leave like cat food out, because they really like it. And they have like this kind of striped tail like this. And then they're really furry. So at first you're like, is that a cat? Is that a dog? Did somebody's dog get in my backyard? And then you're like, whoa, whoa. Because when they sit up, they look like they're wearing a face mask over their eyes. So people joke around about them looking like bandits.
Where can you find the raccoon prints? Come up to or just find it. Point to it. Where are the raccoon patas? Where's the raccoon feet?
I was thinking as we were walking.
Raise your hand once you found them.
On the side
Did we tell you how appreciative we are of you guys being here with us today? We're so happy.
The thing about snakes here is the only poisonous one that we have, or venomous one we have. It's actually a rattlesnake. They have a rattle on the end of their tail. But sometimes the gopher snakes will take people out and pretend to be a rattlesnake.
A specimen.
So if you see somebody coil up, they're shaking their tail.
So this specimen has lost its leaves, and there's the Coast live oak.
Gopher snake trying to take you out.
Has its leaves all year round. But one of the things
that you can find that would be evidence of the snake is the snake shed. So actually, I have a gopher snake at home, but he was pretty crabby today, so I took him down. Well, I did bring you, this is actually his old skin. So what they do is you can actually find this on the side of the trail or in the grass. I don't know if it'll actually stretch out, it might tear. I wish I could find his eye. thing for you. Even everything comes off, even their eye scales. So like snakes can't even wink at you. They don't have eyelids. So they have like a contact lens. And when you see them in the park or by your house or anything like that, and their eyes turn all white like milk, it means that their old scales are about to come off. And they get kind of freaked out when that happens because they can't see very well. And the thing about snakes is like their ears are not really like on the outside of their body. It's sort of like on the inside. So they sense sound through vibration. So it's okay if you hold really still. If you see one and you're scared and you hold really still and you go at the top of your lungs, as long as you're not moving, you won't scare them because they can't hear you. But when you're walking up the trail like this, they actually they feel the vibration. So it'd be kind of like if we had King Kong or Godzilla. Boom, boom, boom. And we'd be all, ah, let's go eat us, it's a T-Rex. We'd be all scared, right? Well, that's what these guys do too, is they think we're gonna eat them and they freak out. So they do things to protect themselves, like rattlesnakes will coil up and shake their tail and be all scary looking, or they'll try to get away from you and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind, is we're a lot bigger than them and we might be really scared of them sometimes. Some people are really scared of snakes, but they don't want to hurt us. They want to eat mice and other little things like that. And they're really important.
If you see anything in the video that you want us to stop, if you want to get a better look, just let us know. Stop! Which way?
Kind of trees. What are those kind of trees?
This way or the other way?
The other way. The other way.
They knew what this was.
This one is, oh, look, Terry. Oh, we know what this is.
I can actually reach
Okay, let me set Terry up. She's going to tell you.
short, so I usually can't reach them.
I was like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, okay. Grab it again, Terry, so I can see where it's out on the camera. Those are pretty big. Oh, I know why they're big. Okay, okay. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see what Terry's grabbing. Okay. And this is Aunt Terry, okay, by the way. This is Aunt Terry.
You can call me Tia, that's what my nieces call me.
Or Thea Terry. Okay, go for it, Terry. What are those?
This is a walnut.
Who likes walnuts? Raise your hand if you like walnuts.
I did not know that walnuts grow inside a fruit. I thought it was just a nut growing on a tree. I didn't realize it actually had something around it. So it actually has like a fruit that goes around the outside of the walnut shells that we usually see in the store. And the thing is, if you start cutting these off of here, you have to watch out because it'll dye your hands different colors. People used to use this as a dye. But you know, it's kind of like inside there's actually really cool walnut. Oh.
There's one right.
Ooh, I think it got shriveled. Oh, right on. I should have.
Oh yeah, that one's right.
All right, I'm gonna take one for the team. This is gonna get on my fingers, and my fingers will get dyed black. Actually, see that color? I always get confused if it's black or yellow. I think it's black. Ooh, this was warm because it was in the sun.
We'll find out.
Ooh, that's okay. That's okay. Ooh, it's squishy. So the shell is actually inside here, and you can start to see the nut. Ooh, gross! It looks like brains. Look at that. Oh, this one's squishy. Why is it squishy? So you can see the walnut in there.
Oh, it does look like brains.
Yeah. So because it looks like brains, like in the old days, people used to freak out and they would eat food if it looked like a part of their body.
Oh my god, that's a huge walnut.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's all squishy too. Like this, I would never be able to get this shell off like this. This feels like it was like soaked in water or something. Squish, squish. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Why is it wet?
Lots of water in there. But look at that. Let me zoom in. Hold it really still. Let me zoom in for you kids so you guys can see. Oh, it's making me hungry.
So if
There's the walnut.
this looks like a brain and you wanted to be smarter or improve your brain, people would eat these walnuts because they thought it would help their brain.
Really?
But it was a lot later before they found out that's what brains look like. Nobody sees brains unless it's an accident.
Nice.
Or some kind of other stuff's going on. But yeah, and getting these out is actually like crows. They crack me up because crows will actually like go up and they wait for a car to come and they throw the walnut down on the ground and the car squishes it. And they open it, they figured out how to open their own shells, right? Hey, I just saw our summer deciduous tree.
Yeah, there it is.
What? I didn't know that was here.
Well, good find, kids. Right, this tree. Let me show you this thing. Look how big those ones are. And so these are the European walnut, which is different than the black walnut. But these are get really big. And we have, how many do we have? Count them. How many do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. That's a lot of walnuts, especially how big they are. Nice.
You know what I noticed is, see the bark? How it goes all the way down, it's all white.
Yeah.
This is the English walnuts. So most of the walnut trees that I had seen were either California walnuts or they were English walnuts that they grafted it onto a California walnut tree. Like, this totally freaks me out that people figured out how to do this. But if you want to combine two kinds of tree, you just get one tree to grow and you split it open, but not like, don't break it off, but you split it open and you put another tree in it and you wrap it up like with a band-aid type thing. Like, it'll actually grow into a combination of both trees. So this one's an English walnut, which means these walnuts would be very tasty, like the kind you get in the store. But that tells me that there's a couple of these around here. So I think that either these were planted along the trail or this used to be part of an orchard. They don't look like they're very old. So it was probably planted here by the parks, which is a good, healthy source of food for the wildlife, like squirrels and deer and stuff. But the other thing that you'll find is sometimes you'll find really old trees like this. And it was from the days when this used to be an orchard. You can actually find like a historic orchard in your neighborhood and stuff like that. Just look at the different trees.
This tree right here, kids.
Oh, the leaves are dying. The leaves are falling off, and every other tree doesn't do that till fall. So what happens is the tree starts to pull all the nutrients back into itself to go to sleep. But why would a tree go to sleep now? It only goes to sleep in the summertime. Why do you think that would be? What would be the advantage of that? I want you to be shaved, and you're dropping all your leaves. No shade. It's just kind of more closer to the size. It's kind of neat because it looks like a hand. It's got 5 pieces like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is actually pretty small, which means there's not a whole lot of water right here. But these grow these big, beautiful leaves. These leaves don't do well in the summertime when it's hot. If you have big, beautiful leaves like this that are not waxy, they're like nice and thin like that, then all the water can come out of them and the tree could die. So what it does is it goes to sleep when it gets hot. But before it goes to sleep, it actually makes these things called buckeyes. I'm like, that's a weird name. Why would they call it that? They're small. This is just beginning to grow. So these weird fruits right here will get as big as my fist. They'll get as big as my hand like this. And they get really round and they turn the same color as a deer skin. And then what happens is they'll actually split.
There's like a split. You can see it on the back there.
Starting to split a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that just kind of shows it a little bit.
You can see how it has a seam so it could split when it gets bigger, right? It starts to split and it actually looks like a deer's eye. pretty freaky looking. How did that get there?
What?
Isn't that crazy? That big old like palm tree.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, look at this. You can find evidence of people all over.
So I just read today that one of the historic parks posted that when we see these Mexican fan palms, that they came with the missions during the time of the Spanish era, and it was part of like prayer or something. And so really interesting.
Ooh, who's that? That's a weird sound. I don't know what that sound is.
We'll find them.
Maybe it's a
Let's put it on.
squirrel. But they would have these parties, and to tell people that the party was happening, somebody would climb to the top of the palm tree and hang a bunch of lanterns from it. And you could see the light on the tree for like 5 miles. So any family that saw those lights in the top of the tree would know that there's a party at that house, and the party would last all week. So you would get all your family together, and it might take a day or two to get there and get everybody there. Everybody would bring food, and then they would totally like have a party and eat a bunch of food and be dancing, and a good opportunity to meet somebody. Wow, that's a pretty old one, huh?
Yeah.
I think it's a mad squirrel. I'm not sure. When I first started my job, western sycamore trees were not endangered. But it turns out that the habitat that they grow in now, so like the creeks and stuff, and the areas where you can find more than just one or two, it's actually considered an endangered habitat now. So the way you'll know it's a sycamore tree is you'll look and you'll see it looks like the bark looks like paint by number. So I don't know if you ever played with those coloring books when you were a kid where you could like, it said, you know, like every number 1, color it blue, every number 2, color it pink, like that kind of thing. And you could like make an animal. So it's kind of like that. These are really pretty, but their leaves fall off in the fall also. Sometimes you find like, I wouldn't be surprised if there were nests or honeybees and stuff living in here.
Western sycamore.
That's how you know there's water.
I just wanted to say, the other day, you guys asked about Bigfoot. And I was a little standoffish, and I just said, hey, it's fun to believe in Bigfoot. But what I didn't want to tell you is that we're actually like Bigfoot researchers, okay? We really enjoy Bigfoot, and we really like go out and look for Bigfoot and stuff, okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit about Bigfoot, maybe tell a couple stories, maybe find some Bigfoot scat or something, who knows, okay? So let's do it. Can I get a thumbs up? What do you guys think? You guys want to do it? All right, let's do it. They're in.
So it turns out that a lot of different cultures believe in Bigfoot. It's like all over the world. And oh, it was a bird. Oh, it's a baby hawk. Okay. So it turns out that Richard and I love studying the whole concept of Bigfoot and where they live. So some people believe that Bigfoot is actually a Native American shaman, because the shaman would go into the wilderness and they're supposed to be out there, and they're supposed to just know in their heart when it's time to come back. And when they come back, they have all the knowledge they need to be able to help their people spiritually. Well, some people go out and they fall in love with nature, and they actually transform into something like Bigfoot, and they just never come back. But some people think that's great. Other people think that it's a North American ape. There's actually a species that lives in the trees and things. So what would happen is I talked to a man who said that he had seen them before. And I said, what do you do if you see one? Is there like a right way to act? Because you know how they tell you if you see a bear, make a bunch of noise and blow a whistle and all this and scare the bear away. If you see a mountain lion, you're supposed to look big, stuff like that, right? Well, I said, so what do you do for Bigfoot? Because they're so huge, they could like squish you like a pancake, right? And he said, well, the first thing that's going to happen is you're not going to believe what you're looking at. And so you're going to kind of like stare at it and kind of freeze and kind of go numb. And then you don't know what to think. And you're not sure if you're like crazy. And he says, and then what you're going to want to do is just be very gentle and very mild, because they don't like aggression. So people throwing rocks at them or get away from me, and the hunters that like shoot guns towards them and stuff, it just makes them mad, because they're out there in nature trying to live and do their own thing. And if you scare them and you upset them and you threaten them, that might cause a bad reaction. That's a good lesson for life in general. How you respond to things, a lot of times will influence how other things respond. So if you want it to be gentle with you, then you be gentle and calm and very gently. So a lot of times, like women that have seen Bigfoot, what they'll do is they'll just very gently like sit down on the trail, and they don't make eye contact. So if Richard and I were here and we actually saw one like right here, I would have him sit down, and I would sit down right next to him, and I might even start playing with his hair, like the monkeys do, where they groom each other. Because that's like, see, Richard's not a threat. He's not going to hurt you. They can tell if you're a boy or a girl. So it's like, oh, he's not going to hurt you. See, he's being good. We're just regular people here. And they actually get calm, and then they won't hit you that way. So some people hear like the calls and things like that, and it kind of like sounds like, one person said it sounds like an ape like it's a shoot. When they're like, like really loud. And another person said it's more like that. But imagine your lungs is so much bigger than ours that they could do that, and you would hear them like, 10 miles away. It's like crazy like that. Do you have a story, Richard? Did you actually see one?
It was about 100 degrees in the Trinity Alps, and I was on the Trinity, fishing on the Trinity River, and I asked my family if they wanted to go fishing with me, and they said no. It's 100 degrees, you're crazy. And so the Trinity River just so happens to be in the location I was in, just so happens to be miles away from the original Bigfoot sighting that happened, I believe, in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm out there and I'm fishing, and as I'm fishing in the Trinity River in the middle of the Trinity Alps, in the middle of nowhere, a big splash happened right in front of me. And so me, being a big Bigfoot fan and stuff, I don't think anything of it at first, but then another rock comes and splashes right in front of me. And so I say, all right, Bigfoot. And I'm looking up at this big mountain in this forest, and I'm like, all right, Bigfoot, stop messing around. I'm trying to catch a fish, And then, so I'm fishing, and then next thing you know, a bigger boulder comes and splashes me. So the boulder splashed so much that it wet me. And I said, okay, Bigfoot, I'm out of here. And so I left. So that's one of my Bigfoot stories. I might tell you another one. But remember, I was miles away from the original Bigfoot sighting. Yeah.
That's cool. My best friend went to live in Washington. And over by Mount Shasta, there's a lot of Bigfoot sightings. And her kids knew how much I love Bigfoot and always wished I could see one. And they actually called me and told me they were all excited, because they said that they were driving down this road and it was huge forests on both sides. And they get kind of bored sometimes, so they're like looking out the window, and standing between the trees, they thought they saw something, but they said it was like way too big. So people believe that the further north you go, the larger Bigfoot gets. So here in California, they might be more human sized. You might actually see them at human size. But if you get up to Oregon and Washington and Canada and Alaska, the further north you go, the bigger they get. So there's so much more wilderness still. The other thing that they'll do is they whistle. So one of the ways they communicate, there's two ways that they can communicate with each other. They knock on wood. So you'll see on some of the shows, people are whacking the trees and stuff like that. So some people think that they communicate by like whacking on the trees and stuff. Other people say they communicate through whistles. So especially in the southern part of the United States, they whistle like this real high-pitched thing. But here, the Native Americans would know when spring was coming, because the Bigfoot would actually start to move back down out of the hills, down into the valleys and things. And as they're coming down the hills, you hear them whistling. And they say, oh, good.
What was interesting, Terry, was that a few months after my encounter, I was watching Finding Bigfoot. And what do you know? there was a fisherman in the Trinity Alps who reported fishing in the Trinity River, and boulders were being thrown in the water to scare him away. And I had the same exact encounter, and that's why I kind of believe it. Anyhow, anybody see that episode? Did you guys see that episode?
You're a man and he thinks you're
I
a
have
man.
a question.
What's your question?
Are there any lizards?
Oh, lizards. But we could probably
I have
find
them in
some.
my house.
It's a hot day. We'll probably find some lizards. Like lizard people or lizards? We can find some lizards, right? It's a hot day.
Lizards.
Lizards. Okay, we'll find a fence lizard today.
Want to see something like how people in the old days used to play? This is so old. This used to be here when I was little, and somebody has since fixed it. Check this out.
What do you see? Anything interesting? Which way should I move the camera?
It's a tree house. It's a tree house.
There's a what?
Tree house.
Yeah.
Which way should the camera go?
That way.
Up or down?
Go up. Go up.
Wood is so old up there.
Cool.
What somebody fixed part of it.
What are we looking at?
There used to be an actual house over here, and there was kids our age that lived in it, and this was like their backyard. So they would totally like come out here and make these tree houses. My brother was a real daredevil, and I was scared to climb up there when I was a kid because I was like thought it was creepy looking. I turned around for 2 seconds and my little brother went up the tree. I had to bribe him to come down with a candy bar. He didn't want to go home. He liked it so much. What do you think? Should we try to find a creek?
Yeah, we
Has to be in the sun.
Yeah, we'll probably be back on the trail. There's the creek though. It's dry right now, but up at Alum Rock, there's all this water running because they have some springs, but it doesn't make it all the way down here. And here's some more of those Mexican fan palms. If anything, they were probably maybe here from the house or something. All right, we're on a hunt for a lizard. I'm pretty sure we can do it. I think that's most likely doable.
I think the Audubon Society just released their 2020 photographic awards.
Oh,
And there's a bird that caught a lizard in the #1 picture.
nice. Now I'm looking for lizards. See if we see anything here. There's one. Just ran underneath this tree. Let's see if we can find it.
That's so quick.
So fast. There you go. There it is. There it is. Hold on, guys. Give me a second. See it? What's up? Mr. Richards in the house. What is that, guys? That right there is a lizard.
I'm scared to look. Like, what kind is it?
Looks like a fence lizard.
Oh, cool.
He's hanging upside down. Or else, I thought I seen one, but it was so fast. Nice. Nice. All right, I got to show you guys something before you guys take off. All right, this is a special specimen. It's something I found in the Sierra Nevada. I had a special thing made for it when I was over there in the Sierra Nevadas. I was backpacking, and I found this right here. I put it in a container.
Ew, it's stinky.
Oh, yeah, it smells really bad. Really,
Smells like fish.
really, let's see. Oh, God, it smells terrible.
Oh.
There's something in there. But can you guys see that? This special specimen. And what it is it's piglet scat. Yeah, it's serious. I had this special container made because it's piglet scat. It smells terrible. I wish you can smell it.
Oh, nasty.
What do you think? Let me show you.
It smells like fish.
Oh, kind of saw my finger.
Disgusting.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna put it away. 'Cause I got. Anyways, I paid a lot of money for this container. I thought you guys would like it. All right. Well, you guys say bye to Tia Terry, okay? And we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll be over at Valley Water. We'll be doing a watersheds program and stuff. And she's trying to run from me. And yeah, so thank you so much. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank
Bye.
you. That hawk is like silly over there. That sounds like a red shoulder.